The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The country may have 5,000 to 6,000 new daily COVID-19 cases by the end of March. The spike is seen to be caused by the spread of the new variants, according to OCTA Research Group. OCTA estimates Metro Manila to have 3,000 new cases per day by March 31st, more than double the past week's average of only 1,025 new daily infections. The reproduction number in NCR also jumped to 1.66, the highest rate of increase since July last year. OCTA warns this surge may spread more quickly than last year's due to the new and more infectious variants. Meanwhile, 4 cities in Metro Manila are classified as high-risk areas. These are Pasay, Makati, Malabon, and Navotas. The city government of Pasay has lifted the localized lockdown in 20 barangays following a decline in the number of active COVID-19 cases in the areas. Prior to this, there were a total of 83 barangays under lockdown due to the spread of infection. Now, as of last Friday, 236 houses are still under community quarantine with a total of 483 active cases. The city has recorded over 8,400 COVID-19 infections, 222 deaths, and some 7,700 recoveries. Now, in other news, the Philippines may again deploy OFWs to the UAE starting March 31st. This after UAE inhibited foreign embassies from verifying domestic helper contracts in 2014, effectively stopping deployment of workers. Faith Del Mundo with the report.
After 7 years, the Philippines can now again deploy workers to the United Arab Emirates. At the Laging Handa briefing yesterday, Labor Secretary Silvestro BELLO III said they had a joint committee meeting and signed a bilateral agreement allowing OFW deployment to UAE beginning March 31.
Magandang balita, pwede nang mag-deploy muli ng ating mga OFWs or especially yung ating mga household service workers. After 7 years, wala tayong bilateral agreement with them. Kaya hindi tayo makapag-deploy ng ating mga OFW doon. Sa dahilanan na ayaw nila na yung standard contract ay mapirmahan ng 4 na tao. Ang gusto kasi ng UAE government, 2 lang ang pipirma doon sa standard contract.
Deployment of workers ceased in 2014 when the UAE government refused a 4-party contract that would have provided security to Filipino workers. In this 4-party contract, the signatories are the employer, the employee, the foreign recruitment agency, and the local recruitment agency. The contract also provides that the OFW may keep their passport and mobile phone. They will also have regular sleeping hours and can finally cook or choose their own food. OFWs will also be entitled to 1 paid day off per week, and original employers must consent before they are transferred to a different employer. The agreement also provides that the UAE government will no longer allow the conversion of tourist visas into working visas without the approval of the Philippine Labor Attaché in the place of deployment. Meanwhile, BELLO also says the no vaccine, no work policy is illegal, after labor groups raised concerns that some private firms are considering to impose such policy.
Illegal yan. Hindi pwede na pilitin mo ang isang tao na magpabakuna kung ayaw niya. And lalong hindi pwede na gawin mong kondisyon para makapasok siya na kailangan mabakunahan mo na siya. No, that is a very illegal policy, John. Hindi pwede yan. Kung ayaw ng tao magpabakuna, hindi mo siya mapilit. Pero having said that, ako'y nakikiusap sa ating mga kababayan, kapag nandyan na ang bakuna, magpabakuna na tayo. Yan ang the best way for us to ensure our return to normalcy. Yan po. Maliwanag John, yung no vaccine, no work is an illegal policy, and I am assuring everybody that so far our offices not receive any formal complaint. Pwede silang dumiretso sa mga DOLE offices namin. Meron kaming city, municipal, provincial, and regional offices, at pwede rin sila magreklamo.
According to BELLO, an employee cannot be forced to be inoculated. However, the Labor Secretary encouraged workers to take the COVID-19 shots if the opportunity arises. He adds that the companies that will force an employee to get vaccinated or will not allow employees to report for work if they have not yet received COVID-19 shots will be sanctioned. He adds that companies that will force an employee to get vaccinated or will not allow employees to report for work if they have not yet received COVID-19 shots will be sanctioned. He also reminds Filipino workers that they may report errant employers to Dole Hotline 1349. For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion says he has expressed confidence that the country's economy would recover by last year or last quarter of the year. Amid several deferrals of the government, Concepcion noted that reopening of the economy is the only way to save the livelihoods of micro, small, and medium enterprises.
I believe the economy will bounce back in the fourth quarter, and as mentioned, the various reasons why it will, with all the, and ultimately we really have to open the economy, or else we will not be able to save the livelihoods of many of our micro and small entrepreneurs.
Concepcion, meanwhile, discouraged the implementation of no work, no vaccine policy in private companies. He, however, stressed the importance of the vaccines in overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic.
For us to win this war against COVID-19, being called to vaccinate is our only weapon, because if we buy the vaccines and our people will not vaccinate themselves, or it will be a very poor showing, then we will not win this war. We will, in fact, waste money in buying the vaccines, and we will not achieve herd immunity.
The government will review the quarantine protocols before reopening the economy, especially after the surge in cases in Metro Manila. But for NTF COVID-19 Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr., the country cannot afford another general lockdown as it has already taken its toll on the economy. Instead, he called for localized lockdowns in high-risk areas.
The way forward is really we invest more on the minimum health standard protocol. Talagang kaya nga sinasabi namin sa aming mga announcement na dahil padating na ang vaccine, ang gagawin natin parang vaccine plus. Meaning vaccine is added protection, but we should not forget that yung ating prevention, detection, isolation at saka treatment and reintegration strategy should also be there.
Now, here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. Kabataan Party List Representative Sara Ilago condemns police killings and raids on activists. Ilago calls on the enforcers to stop their murderous rampage, adding that search warrants are being weaponized against activists and human rights defenders. This comes after some members of the militant groups were killed and several others arrested in a series of pre-dawn police raids today in Laguna, Rizal, Batangas, and Cavite. The Associated Labor Unions and Building and Woods Worker International appeal for gender equality ahead the International Women's Day. They also call for COVID-19 and economic recovery, full employment, and occupational safety. And in observance of the International Women's Day tomorrow, the LRT2 and MRT3 will be offering free rides to women. Women commuters could avail of the free service from 7 in the morning till 9 in the morning and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.